Good morning and thank you for attending. Welcome everybody to today's session. We're starting 1 minute early, so I will extend my introduction because people are still entering. I'd like to start and remind everybody that today's session, as all of the sessions this week, is about celebrating teachers. We've all been taught by teachers in our lives, and we all know the teachers that have made a difference to our lives. I've certainly had teachers that have made a real positive difference to me. One in particular I can think of when I was at secondary school. I'd spent most of my childhood at school not understanding maths at all. I didn't understand anything about maths apart from basic addition and subtraction. And I went through the whole of primary school and most of secondary school really not understanding mathematics. Then one teacher started, and he didn't do a lot, but he worked with me and he demystified maths for me. He helped me get it. Sometimes it's as simple as that. Teachers can help you get something, because when you get it, when you then understand it and you can see it from a different perspective and lose the fear of something, that can make a huge difference to your lives. Now, we have all heard anecdotal evidence about the positive effect of teachers, but it isn't just anecdotal. Research shows that as well. In fact, recent research shows that the positive teacher effect on our learning, on students' learning, makes up over 30%. And that compares to 5 to 10% that we get from the home, from schools in general, from principals, and from our peers. So teachers really make a positive difference to our lives. They inspire us and they help us trust, and what we learn from them can be life-changing. Today's session, we're going to hear from international students, and we're going to hear from some local students. There will be a chance to ask questions. Please, if you have any questions during the session, can you write them in the chat box and I will read them out later. If there's time at the end of the session, we will open up the mics so that people can ask their questions live. There will also be some breakout rooms where you can continue the discussion after we finish at 12 o'clock. Okay, thank you again. People are still entering the room. Without further ado, I would like to start the session with our international students. So can I please remind everybody, apart from those I invite up, to mute your mics and turn off your cameras. Thank you. And I would like to invite Ben, Emmanuel, Akram, Ayat, Andrea to please unmute and turn on your cameras. So don't forget to unmute your mics as well. Emmanuel, Ben. And we also have Mohammed there. Okay, fantastic. So can I first of all welcome you all, and we really appreciate you taking time out to come and share some of your thoughts and feelings with us today. And we just do a very brief mic check. So could you start by just giving a 5 to 10 second introduction of yourselves so we can know that all your mics are working? start with you, Emmanuel.
Yes, hello. Good morning, everyone. My name is Emmanuel Olalere, and I'm a master's student here at Help University. I'm a master's in entrepreneurship. I also did my undergrad here. I was a major in IT, and yeah, I've been here in Help a while, and it's been fantastic.
Ben, would you like to share?
Hi everyone. Good morning, Dr. Andy. How are you doing? And I'm Benjamin Olasde Adejimo, and this is my final year in mass communication. That's what I study. And yeah, being in health it's been wonderful. Really been eye-opener for me. So I can't complain. I just have to be grateful. I had a lovely chat I have had and come across in my whole life. I couldn't complain. Like what Johnny, it's like a Johnny Walker. I get on.
Thank you, Ben. Akram, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm Akram, and I am from Sri Lanka. I've been studying at Help University for the past 2 years, and it's been a wonderful experience. In fact, as you can see, there's the other international students here that I could count them in my very close circle of friends. Yeah, it's a very comforting panel up there right now. Yeah.
Angelia, would you like to say something?
Yeah, sure. I'm Angelia. I'm from Indonesia, and I've been studying in Help University for around 2 years, major in accounting business.
Thank you. Are you still with us? Yes.
Yes.
Would you just like to briefly introduce yourself, Hayat?
Yes. Hi, my name is Hayat, and I'm originally from Iraq, but I was born and raised in Canada. And I study Bachelor of Media Studies in Health University, and I've been here for around 4 years.
Thank you. David, are you one of our international students? David Peleus? If you're not, would you mind turning off your camera, please? And do we have any others that are joining us? Okay. Thank you for the introductions. And I'd just like to remind everybody that Help University has students from all over the world. I don't know the exact figures for the whole of Help University, but from my own faculty, the Faculty of Arts and Communication, over the last few years, we've had students from over 30 different countries. So we've all had different experiences, or you've all had different experiences. And I'd like to maybe just give you a chance to start with just saying what it's like for you as an international student to live in Malaysia. How have you found it? Akram, should we start with you?
Sure, of course. It's been a pleasant experience, a wonderful experience, because shortly before I entered Malaysia, my home country was still in the midst of a civil war. So to come out of that situation, that tense situation where people actually feared going out in the streets, now you could say that becomes normal, and you do become accustomed to that. And myself personally, I wouldn't think about it all the time, but you can imagine my parents, for instance, they were in fear that whenever I went out for whatever it was, extracurriculars or even to school, that there was a chance that I wouldn't come back. Now we all live with that certain degree of risk in whatever we do, but to fear going out to be educated, it's quite frightening. it's even more so. Yeah. And coming to Malaysia, it's peaceful, very safe. We can go about, do whatever we need to do freely, and that was a big change for me.
Akram, has there been a teacher here or at home that has been particularly significant in your life?
Oh yes, there has been quite a few, but I would like to mention one in particular over here, and that would be Dr. Lim. So she.
Would you like to say a little bit about how she's helped?
Of course, I have been, had the pleasure of taking her classes in my very first semester, in fact. It's one called public speaking. Now, there's one thing she did in particular that really opened my eyes to the gaps in my experiences. Well, instead of asking us to explain about ourselves, which she did, she had us fill out a form. Now, in this form, we had to list down the things that we've done, how we've participated in teams, not just in sports, but other activities, how we've conducted ourselves and strived towards particular goals, if any. And I had a lot of blank spaces in that form. Now, prior to that, I felt that I had done quite a bit, and I was satisfied with my experiences and my efforts to contribute. But after filling that out, I felt like, there is a vast area that I haven't even attempted to engage with, to gain experience in that field or aspect. And through her and through that particular form, I realized that this is an area where I need to push and challenge myself to grow. And with that, she also invited us to be part of the Toastmasters Club. And I took that invitation. I have to say that it's been a very, very challenging and enlightening experience at the same time. So thank you so much, Dr. Lim, if you're listening.
That's fantastic. Thank you. And yes, and the Toastmasters that help is working extremely well. And I know you're a very prominent member of that. So we look forward to hearing more about that in the future. Just before we move on, could I ask David, could you turn off your camera, please? Farah or one of the admins, could you assist in that, please? Thank you. Let's move over to Emmanuel.
Yes, sir. So when I came to Help University, I had actually already been in a university back home that I left to come here. So definitely, I would say the experience is vastly different. So back home, we had I think almost 2,000 students in a class, in a lecture hall. And as you can imagine, it gets quite loud, it gets quite rowdy. There is frequent power cuts, so it's very hot as well. It's not very conducive. You don't really learn a lot. It's more of like, the teachers are talking to you and, there is no feedback from your end. And on coming to Help University, I think the first thing that was very different in education here is the fact that it was quite small. There was AC. The teachers were very receptive. I believe not so many people in my class were quite vocal, but for me it was like this was a perfect opportunity for me to actually get to learn, because I actually had a one-on-one with my teachers. So in all my classes, I'm always sitting in front because I want to literally have the teacher in my face and say, hey teacher, I don't know this, I don't know that. And life in Malaysia, I would say, is similar to what Akram said. It's very peaceful here. There's an air of just being relaxed here, and coming from Nigeria where 200 million people is the population, and there's so much hustle and bustle. It was refreshing to come here to realize and discover that it's much more relaxed here. So that meant that it was easier for me to learn faster. It was easier for me to pick up new hobbies. I started running when I came to Malaysia. I started picked up a hobby in history, and picked up so many other online courses because it was much more convenient to do here. Yeah. And when it comes to the teacher that I think has had the most impact on me, it was Miss Ong Shumin. She's from the IT department. I think they changed the name now, but at that time when I was there, it was the IT department. So she took one of my first two courses here. So the first one was Introduction to IT and Introduction to Java Programming Language. And I think the way she broke it down and the way she was very explanatory was, quite different. And even when I needed help, she was, quite open, and even when she explained in class, it was not from an angle of, okay, I'm telling you you should know it. It was from an angle of, I want you to be able to understand this, even if there were no exams. So most of the times her in-class exercises and her assessments were actually more difficult than the exam, and we thought it was easier, but actually looking back at it, it wasn't easier. It was just that she had done such a good job of us getting whatever we needed to get, that when we actually took the exam, it seemed easy to us because we were so good at it. So, and also I think there was a time where I was going through, I think it was 2017, where I was, having a very, very down phase. I was going to depression, and, I went to talk to her because, again, I felt so comfortable with her. She connected me with, the folks at CPCS, which is the counseling department in health. And, it was very, very nice for her to do that. And, I still owe literally my life today to her because, at that time I was like, not in a good place, and she really stepped up for me. So I would forever be in her debt, forever.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah, so I mean, both Emmanuel and Akram, it's very much about that inspiration, isn't it? That connection that they go out of their way to make with you.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Ayat, would you like to say a few words too?
Sure. When I first came to Malaysia around 4 years ago, I was lucky enough to have my sister here before me, so she helped me, transition from one country to another. I lived in the Middle East prior to coming to Malaysia, and over there it's very deserty. So coming to Malaysia, it's very forest. Looking at a lot of trees. Even my mom was being here. She loved how green it was. The place, like it's the greenery that you see is very it fills you. It's very beautiful. I think that's very a good factor to keep make it peaceful here. And I like the Malaysia was very welcoming to me. To be honest, I've been to several countries, and I gotta say that Malaysia is one of the best of them because it's very welcoming. Because I think Malaysia has a lot of the cultures, different cultures that emerge in one. So they're very welcoming of different people, and I was lucky enough to come here. Um, I think when it comes to lecturers or teachers, first and foremost, my mother is a teacher, so I come from a family very appreciating of teachers. In Malaysia, I say that one lecturer in particular who really affected me was Mr. Murali from Foundation Studies. He taught me public speaking, and he also teaches communication. And my line is not really clear, I suppose. Okay, so Mr. Murali, can anyone hear me properly?
Yes, can
Okay.
hear you.
Okay. I think Mr. Murali is one of the teachers that really helped me because his class was very fun. His class I look forward to going to. Before I come to the class, I hear laughter, and I instantly know that that's his class. He brought joy to the class, and he was a very fun spirited person. For example, he loves Star Wars, he loves DC, and I remember one student in particular brought lightsabers to the class. So he literally took one. He started playing fight with her. That's how fun spirited he was, and I loved how he brought the spirit of loving to learn and loving to speak up. And I will never forget that classroom. And even when my dad came to visit to Malaysia, he became friends with him. So whenever I would come to the class, he'd instantly be like, "Hi, Ayat, I texted your dad. How is he? I hope you're okay." And everyone's staring at me like, "What? Your dad's friends with the lecturer?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess so." He's that fun and that fun spirited. And if he's watching right now, Thank you, Ms. Murali, for changing my life and for making me love speaking up more, and making me more confident.
Well, I'm sure that Mr. Murali will be really pleased to hear those words from you. And yes, so more about joy, about communication, about being able to help us get things that maybe we didn't get before. Can I move over to Ben? Ben, would you like to say a few words?
Sure, well, thank you, Dr. Andy. So for me, I came from a place where I'm a full-time athlete from Nigeria, so I was playing professional basketball for a reason. So I've not gone to school for like prior to like 5 to 6 years of that already. So school wasn't my cup of tea anymore. So I had opportunities to be like, okay, you come to Malaysia, you get a free education, and you play for this school. I'm like, okay, why not? So I moved there, and getting there, I was like, life wasn't that fast paced. Because Lagos in Nigeria, it's like a city of like 30 to 20 million people, so everything is going that fast, that fast. I'm like, okay, I think everything out here is so chill. So I just settled in. I didn't like it at first because I was used to that fast paced life, but as long as when I settled in, I enjoyed everything out here. And I speak out to the teacher that had really impacted me because I'm that guy that I don't really talk or express myself too much to keep quiet. But during the end of my degree, I think it was Mr. Kumar from the home department. He was super chill, like chill. It's gonna be like, oh man, what's the problem today? I'm like, "Hey, Kumar, no problem. Talk to me and I can hear you. Like, okay, there's a problem. Is that's gonna just take it easy. Everything will be fine. And on top of that, it was my final year supervisor for my project, for my thesis. So he really helped me out because he was like, relax, you get it done. Nothing. Just focus. Anything you don't know, just reach out to me. Like, I think he gave me his private number. I could just get him anytime I wanted. So that alone was like, at that point, I'm just like, whatever it is for this thesis, is what it is. Like, I could not really bother myself. I just want to be done with school and that's it. Like, I'm so tired. It's like, no, man, just stay and you can give up at this last part of your degree. Just hold up with it. So to me, he really helped me out a lot because it's not a lot of people have to really express myself with that much, but it was one of that guys. So it was like so chill. He motivated me, and it's like that kind of like one father figure that I didn't have around here because my parents were just all of them away from Frisco. So it was kind of cool for me. And Mr. Kama, I owe you one. Thank you for everything.
I'm sure Mr. Kamal, again, will be really pleased to hear that. Thank you, Ben. Just before I move over to Angelia, can I just remind everybody, if you would like to ask any questions of our international students, please write them down in the chat and we will endeavour to get them to answer you. Let's move over to Angelia. Hi, Angelia. Would you like to say a few words?
Yes, absolutely. When I first came to Malaysia, and because Indonesia and Malaysia is a neighboring country, right? We find a lot of similar culture between us. So there was kind of like a rivalry to some groups of people in Malaysia and Indonesia. So I was expecting that kind of attention to us, to foreigners. So I was expecting that some kind of respect. So when I first came to Malaysia, everyone was very welcoming to me and to all of the Malaysian friends and teachers. They were very welcoming and supporting, and so I quickly adapt to Malaysia very quick. Yeah. So talking about teachers, there is one teacher that made a big impact on my life, particularly in middle school. That this teacher was my English teacher. He also was my homeroom teacher back in Indonesia, and I was a pretty low esteem, low confidence student, and was like hard to approach somebody. But he was the first one to approach me first, and he gave me the chance to speak in class. So that kind of really boosts my confidence overall. So at the end of the semester, I was exerting more effort than usual. So I became the top of the class in that semester. So that was pretty surprising to me. So he made a pretty big impact on me, and that's how I am now.
Fabulous, top of the class.
Yeah.
Okay, well, no questions have come in the chat yet, but I've got a question. And I don't mind which one of you would like to take this up, but have there been any teachers, any guides, any mentors that have helped any of you in the transition that you made from your home country to Malaysia? So that specifically, and what did they do to help you in that transition?
Can I go first?
Yes, Emmanuel.
I remember very clearly. It was the network and communications class. He is no longer with help, unfortunately. Dr. I still remember his full name. Dr. Rajamoran Patar Sarati is from India, but he was a help lecturer at the time. And I think I was struggling because networking when I did IT was not really my strong suit. And he sat down with me and he asked me like, hey, what are the challenges you're facing? And I remember distinctly telling him like, the education piece here is like really quick. So back home it's a 4-year degree. Here it's a 3-year degree. So it's like things are really accelerated, 4 subjects per semester, which is like really intense. So I told him, I was having difficulty adjusting to that schedule. And he actually sat down with me for like an hour to really iron out, hey, what are the challenges you're facing, and is it scheduling for studies, is it you don't understand, okay, you do know you can talk to this person, you can talk to that person, and maybe these are some of the tips I would have for you to adjust. And it was my first semester, and I still remember till today. I've never forgotten his name because it really came in handy when it came to me adjusting to life here. And yeah, I will forever be grateful for him helping me adjust here very early on.
Fabulous. Yes, because it's not just the pure learning where teachers play a significant role, isn't it? It is particularly when you're moving from one country to another, one culture to another, that transition, if that transition is made easier, then that also is going to have a positive impact on our learning as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Anybody else like to say anything? Akram, have you got anything to say about the transition?
Yeah, I do actually. So when I first started studying in Malaysia, it was actually 4 years ago. And I started off at a university called First City University in Bandar Utama. And over there was a lecturer by the name of Miss Remy. And part of what she did to make me feel more comfortable was to kind of give me insight into the various cultures that exist in Malaysia, and particularly the island, the people of Sabah and Sarawak, because she is from that area. So that was quite new to me. So I'm vaguely familiar with Malaysians in general, but I'm curious, like, oh, what are Sabahans like? What are Sarawakians? What differences, And we used to have cultural events at the university, and in particular celebrating, all the diverse states, all the diversity in the states, to be precise. And they would play cultural music, so relevant music to each state. And then she would notice that I was enjoying a particular song, and she'd be like, oh, where do you think this is from? And I said, I don't know, but it sounds really nice. And she's like, okay, this is a Sabahan music, it's traditional Sabahan music, and they played at all their weddings. So if you really enjoy this song, you could consider marrying a Sabahan girl if you want to listen to it more often. Yeah. So that's my little story.
Yeah,
But yes,
great.
in general, people are very helpful and help you learn about where you are if you're in a strange place. It makes it much better.
Would anybody else like to say anything about this? Hiya, you have your hand up.
I do. Okay, well, I can share. I don't have a particular lecturer or teacher, but I think in general, especially I think the foundation diploma, for example, because I came there first, I think in general, all of them were very welcoming, uh, and especially Mr. Joel. I think he was very, very kind, like super kind,
Boleh cuci
and he's
sikit batu
very
tu tak ada tak payah
understanding.
cuci semua. Just letak itu sabun sikit bawah sana
And
cuci.
One second, Ayat. If you're not speaking, could you mute your mics, please? Thank you. Sorry, Ayat.
I
Continue.
don't know how. I think that Mr. Joel was very nice and very, very understanding. Like, for example, the first semester of examination, you have to go to camp. And I, due to my physical disability, couldn't go to camp. And he was super okay with it. Like, okay, yeah, sure, here's another assignment. And very, very supporting and understanding. And I think that's key to, especially people who are transitioning from different places, whether it's within the country, interstate, or outside other countries. So thank you, Mr. Twell, as well. Very kind and very nice.
Listen, we've had our first question in. So I'm going to open this question up to all of you. Okay, it's from Shanti. And Shanti says that even teachers are learners. And Shanti would like some feedback on how you think teachers in general could improve their teaching. Anybody want to make a brief comment about that?
Can I?
Yes.
Okay. I'd say that I know this firsthand. I can say because my mother is a teacher, and a little snippet would be because my mother, her English is not as good. She never really had a chance to learn, but then she taught kindergarten math and English because like she has like the basics, just that like grammatically maybe not as well. And I can really realize that over the 10 years that she has taught in the Middle East, she really built up her English. She learned from the kids. She learned from interacting with other teachers, and she really built up her English. And now her English is really, really good, all from just teaching and speaking. And even the little kids, a lot of people might think that, oh, I can't learn from little kids, but you can really see that sometimes they have more insight than even adults that are more wise. And I think that's a little snippet I want to share about how teachers will learn more sometimes.
Great. Thank you ever so much for that. And yes, Shanti, you're absolutely right that teachers can make great students, but also students, I think, can make great teachers too. We've come halfway during this session, and I would like to thank all 5 of our international students for their contributions so far. I'd like to bring you all back later on, so I'm hoping you're going to stay for the rest of the session. But I'd now like to give some of our local students a chance to say a few words. So while you're having your break, if you can think of any last sort of minute words or suggestions that you would like to say towards the end of the session, and then please do so. But for now, if I could ask the 5 of you to switch off your cameras, mute your mics, and I'd like to call up all of our local students. If you could now turn on your cameras and your mics. We have our first, Alicia. Hello.
Hi.
Don't forget to turn. You've done. Okay.
Can you hear me? Okay. Hi. I'm
Hello.
Elisa.
We'll just wait for. Are there any others? Okay. While we're waiting for the other local students to join us, big thanks for joining this session today. And would you just like to start, like our international students did, with giving a very brief introduction of yourselves and talk about maybe one particular teacher in your life that has made a real difference to your learning?
Okay. My name is Elisa.
Hello.
I am mixed blood, so I'm Indian and 2 of the tribes from Sarawak. So I was really glad to hear some people mentioning about Sarawak as well. I would like, and I'm also studying tourism, that bachelor's degree in tourism management. So one particular teacher that really touched me was a teacher from my previous campus, UCSI University from Sarawak campus. This teacher has literally um, challenged my mindset about tourism industry. Without him challenging my mindset by like pushing me further and like making me think of outside the box, like don't just think of the basic of tourism industry. So because of him, he was the one who encouraged me to like, go out my comfort zone by coming to KL and go to another university to like check out like new ideas, like expand my mentality of tourism by a different teacher, different teaching. That's why I was quite happy to join Help University as well, because I was really impressed by the study material that I'm learning right now, because it's so new and I was like, wow, I never learned things like this. So it's a refresh and something new. Even my parents who's in tourism industry, they they have learned so much in their past. So learning this kind of new thing was also new to them. So it was something that me and my family can learn something and also improve my future capabilities as a tourism student and a tourism worker in the future. So I really give a big thanks to Mr. Ting, that's his name, Mr. Ting Hui Boon, and also Miss Sim, because those two tourism lecturers in USSI was really the great lecturers that I could ever have, because they really pushed me to the limits of learning more, expanding my brain to learn more stuff. So, yeah.
Fabulous. I'm sure he'll be really pleased to hear that. Before I move to the others, can I just briefly say to Ampika, apologies that your sound isn't clear. It will be different for everybody because a lot of it is dependent upon people's internet connections, and that is whether your internet connection is a good one or the presenters is good. So it's a two-way process. So apologies if yours isn't so good at the moment. Hopefully it improves. Tai Chi Chong.
Hello.
Right?
Yep.
Would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Ji Chong. So I'm currently in my year 3 second semester. I'm from business psychology, degree of business psychology. So I think one of the teachers that really impacted me in my school life is Dr. Chu Eng Guan. So he taught me at MGG TROT, which is a subject called change management. So that subject in particular teaches people how to do changes and everything. So Dr. Chu provide me a lot of experience on how he changed and how he does those changes. So to me, the main thing that he benefit me is all the practical knowledge he has provided. So such as things that if you have this kind of like bad attitude or bad habits, how do you provide change? How do you consistently change to be a better person? So I think that is the best thing that I learned from him and I learned from Help University.
Fabulous. Thank you. Mr. Kumar.
Good morning.
Don't forget to unmute your mic. Good. Thank you. Morning.
Thank you. I just want to thank to you and that will give this platform the opportunity for all the students. We just want to give a thanksgiving to our lecturer. Yeah. So I'm Alan from University. I'm studying under Faculty of Hospitality and Tourism in a final year. So I just want to say about the lecturer who inspired me.
We can't hear you at all. Sorry, Kumar, we can't hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Sorry, we can't hear you at all. Maybe if you move a little bit away from your mic and
Hold on.
adjust it better. You're too close to the mic, Kumar.
Can you hear me now?
Andy, can you hear him, Andy?
It is quite faint, but yes, I can hear him. I think you have a slight a mic problem. Are you using an external mic, are you?
Yeah, I'm using external mic. Maybe I try to use my microphone.
Yeah, maybe use the mic on your laptop rather than your phones.
It's totally inaudible.
So I just, sorry for that. I just end up the video here. So I tried.
No, don't worry, Thailand. Just adjust it. Adjust it.
And if everybody else turns off or mutes their mics, it will help. Okay, I think he's going to try and reconnect. So the other two, Alicia and Ty, can you remind us how long you've been at HELP?
For me, okay, this is my this coming semester, May, will be like 1 year right now. So I've been 1 year with HELP since last year, May 2019. So,
okay.
Again, and then I get back to you.
And Ty?
Okay.
So currently, this is my 3rd year in HELP. So my 3rd year and my final year in my degree right now.
So I'm going to ask you a similar question that I asked the international students, but not so much the transition from one country to another, but what was it like for you, and were there any particular teachers that helped you in your transition from pre-U to actually coming to university?
So for my pre-U, right, because I'm from education system called UEC, so it's basically a Chinese independent school, kind of like education system. So I think one of the teachers that really inspired me the most was my maths teacher when I was at Form 1, because at that time I was kind of like the bad kid. So I didn't do any homework. I throw all the rubbish like all the way. I did a lot of stupid things, and that teacher really tells me and told me that you can't be doing this anymore. You should, learn how to live a good life. You should be a better person. Don't be a rotten apple in the society, but be a shining star in the society. So, of course, I didn't listen to him the first time because, when people say something, you won't just follow it. But the thing that he did was he continuously told me that, and he made an action. He made actions like whenever there's charity or whatever, he would call me up and say, "Come on, help on," and then just learn how the society works. So that teacher really inspired me and helped me through my life. I think that if I don't have that teacher, I may be in jail or maybe not in HELP University. So that teacher is the best teacher that I've met until now.
Wow, great. Alicia, same to you?
if you're talking about pre-U, like high school, is that what you're trying to say? In high school, okay, it's quite a long story, but one particular teacher who was very compassionate to really like, give me that hope, because I am a dyslexic, if you know what it means, dyslexia. So I'm
Yes.
dyslexic. So that time I was really struggling through high school. But this teacher noticed that I always wanted to work hard and push my limits. I didn't even take any special treatments during exams. I was just saying I want to do it as a normal student. So actually, this teacher who is my history teacher, her name is Cikgu Jumat. I forgot her full name, but she was really kind enough to tell me to, like, my dedication to wanting to make a difference in this world is, noticed, and teachers like her will always, like, encourage me to go forward and everything, and I should never give up, and all my hard work will be rewarded soon. And ever since, like, high school, then I went to UCSI Sarawak campus. Like, I met Mr. Ting, Miss Sim. I feel like every step that I went, there was so many beautiful teachers who have taught me, encouraged me to push further. Even coming to help, I met like very beautiful and very like hardworking lecturers like Miss Rajesh and what's her name again? I forgot her name then. There was the first teacher that I met, which was doing principles of microeconomics. Miss Sherlyn, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sorry, but she was the first lecturer that really like got me to get comfortable with Help University. So I was like, wow, okay, there is like lecturers here also that is supportive as well. So it made me comfortable to know like, okay, this university also can help me to push further as well. I should not be scared and should continue to get out of my comfort zone, you know, like still there. So I really appreciate all the teachers all in my life because without them, without their encouragement and you know, like they push me to continue and never give up. So yeah.
Fabulous. Thank you. Right, I'm going to welcome back Kumar now. Hopefully, Kumar, you've managed to sort out difficulties with your mic. Let's see if you would like to say a few words.
Do you hear me now? Is it clear?
Yeah.
Just.
So I just want to thank Miss Lucy, but unfortunately she's going to retire soon by this end of the May. One thing that she inspired me is she does the education in an informal way. That means it shows us that education just not like understanding within the class, but beyond that, like we have to learn something from out rather than sitting inside the class. And Miss Rajesh as well, like Alicia just now mentioned about Miss Rajesh. The thing that I learned from her is she always being a positive, like no matter how mistake that we've done, but she always encouraging with the positive words. And in sometimes she also will ready to listen to our problems. Like I think most of the lectures that I had in the university are being more friendly. Like I think I also want to mention Mr. Hairul, Mr. Shahir. All of them are from faculty of the tourism and hospitality department. And Mr. Shahir, I think we're very grateful and thank to him because he finds potential uh, potential leadership from me. So I think, and he also chose me as the president of Pro Club previously, and now currently I know Alicia is the president of the new Pro Club. And with his guidance, advisor, and assistance, we just made a full events and someone just unmute the mic.
If you could all, sorry Kumar, if you could all just make sure that your mics are muted so that we don't listen into your personal conversations, that would be fantastic. Okay, Kumar, would you like to carry on?
Yeah. So I think that's what I learned from them. Most of them I think I couldn't tell verbally because they have showed me a lot of things that we can learn from outside of the world, and some behavior that also inspired me from them. Like for Miss Lucy, she's always wants any of the things that we done just need to be like very accurate and perfect. And yeah, I think that's how we learn from them. Despite that we get a proper lecture from them, most of the lecturing that we learn from them is about their life and experience. So yeah, that's all.
Thank you, Mr. Kumar. I really appreciate that. Thank you, all three of you, for sharing. Can you stay on camera? I would like to invite back all our international students. So would you all Ben, Emmanuel, Akram, Angelia, if you could turn your cameras on as well for the final part of our session. While they're doing that, I think one thing that's come out of all of your sharings is that the teachers that seem to have had the most impact on us, the most positive impact on our learning, are those that give us a gift. And I think it's a limited gift, and that is the gift of their time. They share their time, they give us a present, a gift of their time, go out of their way to provide us, maybe it's additional support, maybe it's finding alternative ways of communicating different things that we need to appreciate, understand and learn and so on. I think that's one of the key things. But it's not about me to speak. I'd like now, welcome back everybody. We have 10 minutes left. We will still take some questions if people want to write it in the chat box. While we're waiting for those, are there any sort of last points that you would like to say about any of your teachers? Any celebratory remarks about any particular teachers in your lives, or general teachers, or teachers in general, should I say? Anybody like to go ahead?
Yes, if I may go first, please.
Yes, is that Akram?
Yeah, it is.
Hi, Akram. Yes, please do.
Right, I've already mentioned Dr. Lim. I would like to continue that theme and shout out to Miss Geeta, Mr. Floyd, and Mr. Kumar as well. Now, I know I could probably name everyone in the faculty, but I haven't had the privilege of studying under them yet, so I'll have to say those praises for later. But I must say, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much all for being passionate about what you do, for teaching, for sharing your knowledge, and engaging with us in the class. I think it can't be stated enough how valuable it is to engage with students and get them to think critically. It's not enough to just give us the information and say A plus B equals C. You got to challenge us in such a way that we come to the answers that you want to give us by engaging, by thinking for ourselves. And that, I think, has been the biggest bonus or biggest takeaway from my experience at Help University. If I can take us way back in time to learning in childhood, learning in primary, elementary, secondary school, it's more of teaching us or giving us information, facts and statistics, like these are the planets, these are colors, these are things, that's the way of teaching that we have been exposed to. But now we get to express ourselves. We can make mistakes. We can say things that we believe may be true based on our experience, but in fact aren't actually true. All the facts that we have gathered may not be true as well. So these are the opportunities we get to learn through engaging with others, that whatever it is that we have learned and experienced thus far may not in fact be true. And then we truly develop as individuals, and I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Akram. I'm sure Miss Geeta, Mr. Floyd, Mr. Kumar will be really pleased to hear those very positive comments from you. I think you're absolutely right in what you say about critical thinking. Critical thinking to some people is often mistaken as being something that maybe is abrasive or rude. It's not rude to be able to have the ability to ask questions of anybody, including your teachers. So I think being able to think critically, being able to have the courage to be able to speak critically, and if teachers are able to help you in that, I think that's brilliant. Did you want to come back on that, Akram?
Yeah, I actually forgot to mention Mr. Bob. He's been such a great help to me, simply because I am a media student, and he brings a wealth of experience and knowledge from the industry to all of our classes. And he's an indispensable member of the team, I believe, the faculty, and everyone loves him. Thank you so much, Mr. Bob, as well. If I have forgotten any names, please forgive me. I will thank you personally afterwards once I because. But thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to make any comments? Emmanuel?
Yes. So much in the sense of Akram as well. I would love to also other teachers. Mr. Stephen Young, he took a photography class in IT department then, which sparked the whole thing. How I started my YouTube channel. I do production today, all from that class because of the support he gave me. Miss Anita Lekchumi as well from no sorry Miss Anita Velayudham from my department. She's got a very brilliant analytical mind, and she tries to show us the why and not just the how. Miss Sita, she was my supervisor for my internship. She was very very supportive, and the lines were always open to her. Dr. Sien from my department, the head of my department, she's like super super friendly, and even the time I needed support in the department, she gave it to me. And I'm a IT student, but even I have to thank Mr. Bob, because when I started my journey as a YouTuber, where I started shooting, I would come to the studio and I would sit with Mr. Bob for I think 5 6 hours, and he would, I'll tell him, hey, Mr. Bob, how do I do this? He's like, okay, Emmanuel, this is how you do this. He's like, hey, Mr. Bob, how do I do this? He's like, oh, Emmanuel, this is how you do this. And it's super super supportive as well. Mr. Floyd, I did radio at Help for a while as well, so Mr. Floyd was quite supportive as well. And so, it cuts across the department. It's just been amazing teachers who have just been there, at almost every point in my life here in Malaysia. So thank you, everyone. And if I missed anyone again, I'm sorry, but these are some of, I think, the people that have been super impactful in my life, even till today.
Thank you, Emmanuel. I know they'll all appreciate that, as will all teachers, because I know that all of your comments, although you have identified particular people, I'm sure there are lots of people, as Akram said, that have made a significant impact on your lives. We've got 5 minutes left. Is there anybody else that would like to say a few final words?
I don't.
Okay. Go.
Put your hand up. I know who wants to speak.
Okay.
Ayat. Okay, Ayat. Yes, please.
I'd like to thank also Dr. Khairuddin Rahman, the head of the Department of Faculty Communication, Arts Communication, because he was my thesis supervisor last semester, and I gotta say, I loved how helpful he was, and he was very guiding. He would always correct if I did something a little bit maybe not exactly wrong, but not on the right path. Very helpful, and I think that's the key. Being very helpful and wanting to help, not just saying, okay, this is right or wrong, but you show me why it's wrong, show me how it's wrong. Also, adding on Akram, who mentioned Nikita, I think she's one of the lecturers that really does help us with critical thinking, especially given that her class is about social research methods and statistics. But then you can really see how she's passionate. You really see that in someone. I think that's key when wanting to teach is you liking and having a passion for what you're teaching. Also, Miss Estil, very, very nice and very kind and helpful, especially very helpful. I love how lecturers and teachers want to help, not just may look like they're forced to do this or it's just a normal job, but
If you're not speaking, please can you turn or mute your mic, please? Thank you. Sorry, Ayat. Ayat, you've now muted your mic.
Okay.
apologies. Okay. So in general, I just like to say to all teachers and all lecturers, thank you for having a passion for teaching, liking what you do and wanting to change, not just doing it because it's a normal job, but really changing people's lives. So thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to who wants to speak?
Okay, Dr. Andy, can I say something?
Yes. We got 2 minutes left.
All right. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to all my teachers.
Ben is mute. Ben, I think you're on mute.
We've lost you, Ben.
No, he's muted.
So,
Yeah.
So I have to say, like, thank you to all of them, because it's not easy being an athlete. So sometimes I had to be on the road playing games and coming back to school to catch up with studies. Even there are some days prior to final exams, I'm still on the road playing games, and I had to come write my exam the next day. But that's another story. So for all of them that assisted me, that really understand where I'm coming from, and still give me their time, they're just blessings. And that's what I say, because it's not just easy being an athlete and a student, because most times you're always on the way. Athletes know what I'm saying, but most of them won't know. So I have to say thank you to them. And Mr. Bob and Mr. Kumar, I hold you on. Once the corona thing is over, we definitely had to catch up. And Dr. Andy too, thank you, guys. You see the reason why it has to be like that, because I had to look for a place for intern that's not gonna affect my sport and all of that. I had to put everything into one perspective, because no, my student will be like, okay, I just want an intern, but I need to look for those comforts. So with that, I have to thank to everybody. And those that I didn't mention their name, you're not forgotten either. So thank you, Dr. Andy. Thank you, Mr. Bob and Mr. Kama. I really hold you on.
Ben and all of you, we really appreciate all of your comments, all of your sharings. I can see in the comments too, there's a lot of appreciation of all of you guys for spending time with us today. Particularly, just one last comment, it's not often that people, teachers particularly, get to hear the viewpoints of learners and how teachers can make a difference to people's lives, because often we don't share it with our teachers for whatever reason. So I think it's really, really brilliant that you've all taken time out to celebrate our teachers today. We've come to the end of the session. I'm sure we could have gone on for several hours. So again, a big thank you to all of you. There are some breakout rooms that will be happening afterwards. So if there's anybody that would like to continue talking or to find out more about the particular faculties of HELP, including the Faculty of Arts and Communication, which is my faculty, there'll be breakout rooms there, and our customer marketing department will be leaving links in the chat. So please do join us in there. For now, if anybody has any additional questions or points that they would like to raise, that they would like to ask of any of our students or any of the team, please either make a comment or you can email our faculty or Help University itself. We will ensure that your questions get answered. My name is Andy, Dr. Andy from the Faculty of Arts and Communication, saying thank you to all of our presenters, all of our students, and everybody that turned up today to listen to what they had to say. Thank you very much. And this is now the end of the session. So goodbye.